Are you wanting to get a horse? Well, you came to the right place to see if you are capable of owning a horse with time commitments, money commitments. Through this short series, I will be discussing with you the pricing to own a horse, the time commitments to owning one, and the other options that you can pursue if these two do not work for you. We're going to be making decisions together like we're getting our own horse. This way we can find out how much our horse can cost or the average horse would cost. At the end of the series, I will do an overall cost and time commitment for the first year. Now let's start planning. For this episode, let's talk about some of the financial responsibilities involved in owning a horse. The first thing you have to do is prepare. This video is the starting point. Before you can even look at buying a horse, let's start where most people start. You don't have a farm and you are going to buy a horse, board your horse, and pay for feed along with any materials. Let's look at boarding options in St. Louis, Missouri. One of the closest and most affordable options is Crouse Farm. There are two different types of boarding styles at Crouse Farm. First is pasture boarding, where your horse is out in the pasture with multiple other horses and you have to go every single day and feed your horse. Then there's what Crouse calls full care boarding. This is where the horses are in stalls and they get fed by staff during the day. The maintenance the owner has to do, however, is called mucking or cleaning out the stalls for health reasons and comfortable environments for the horse to live in. Let's choose the pasture boarding for our horse. It's the cheaper option and it's around $340 a month. Until we know more about our horse, this is the best option to get them used to other horses and stay active and not in a stall all day. Unless you have previous knowledge from another owner that your horse is not good with other horses, this is the best option to keep them active and engaged all day. Now we have to buy all the necessary equipment for a ridden horse. Now the cheapest option for this would be a secondhand store, but in this case we'll buy everything new because we want it to last a long time. To start, we need things the horse will need while out in the pasture. This includes a fly mask, which is around $20, a fly hat, $50, and a turnout blanket, $130. These will not be everyday necessities, but will be needed throughout the year depending on weather conditions. Next is grooming equipment. You can buy a kit with all the necessary tools for just $72 as a one-time purchase. You'll need to buy soap monthly as well because, again, we will be pasture boarding our horse, so they will be outside for the majority of the day, which means they will probably get pretty dirty. This is around $30 a month, which is not a big cost, but something definitely to consider. Another thing you'll have to buy is fly spray. I'll get into all the reasons for it in another video, so look out for that, but it's super important for your horse's health. This is about $100 a month. Next thing cost-wise you're gonna have to worry about is tack. Now let's start with tack for your horse, things you ride on, things you put on your horse for him to be ridden. This is where the big cost for a first-time, one-time purchase comes from. All of these numbers are estimates. They're not exact depending on brands and styles and colors, but these are around the average prices for good quality tack equipment. First, you're gonna need a saddle pad. That's about $90. Next, you're gonna need a saddle, which is about $500. Stirrups, which are around $100. Halters and reins, which are about $80 each. Next, now that you have all your riding equipment for your horse, you're gonna need riding equipment for yourself as the rider. First thing you're gonna need are boots, which are about $200, a helmet, optional but recommended for safety of riders, $65, a riding vest, again optional but very important if you're starting new on a horse, those are around $500. And lastly, you're gonna want pants with good grips called breeches, those are around $40. That is everything you need for your horse in terms of riding, grooming, and maintaining, but let's talk about the food. Now, every day a horse needs about 5.5 pounds of grain. This added up is about 165 pounds of grain a month, and that would be roughly $100 a month. A benefit of pasture boarding is your horse will be grazing throughout the entire day. This being said, making sure you keep a close eye on your horse and see how much he does graze on a daily basis will make you fluctuate the amount of grain you give them because you want to keep it around that 165 pounds of food a month or 5.5 pounds a day. So if your horse is grazing a lot, you don't give them as much grain. So that $100 can fluctuate a little bit depending on your horse. The last thing food-wise you're gonna get is treats. Now, this is really important. As silly as it might sound, it builds a really good relationship between the horse and the rider. It creates a really fun, happy, safe, environment for the horse and rider. Now these are around $18 a month, so again, not a big expense, but definitely something to consider. And this price can also fluctuate depending on how many treats you give your horse. Now let's talk about the cost of a horse. While this price can go down to free if you adopt, or $250,000 if you buy a big show horse, we are going for an average basic riding horse. These will get around $3,000. That's pretty average for a horse. While it is a big expense, you are buying a horse, and these are things you need to consider. At the end of the day, the total price breakdown for one-time payments that you're just going to have to pay for the first year, things like saddles and reins and the horse, is about $4,927 for our horse. Every month you'll be spending roughly $588, which means that the first year of owning a horse, which is the most expensive year, being the first year because of all those one-time purchases, is going to be $11,983 for our horse. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope it was really informative. In the next episode, we're going to be meeting with one of the up-and-coming riders in the St. Louis area and her mom to talk about the day-to-day time commitments it takes to ride a horse. We're going to be doing a day in the life of a horse rider. I hope you guys stay tuned for the next video. Bye.